Well, welcome to Rendering Insights. In this video, we're going to draw a little custom car cruiser cartoon. All right, if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe down below. Okay, this is the little cartoon we're going to be doing. It's kind of based on a little shoebox Ford, but just highly tweaked. All right, we'll do the line work in Illustrator and then bring it into Photoshop and throw some color on it. All right, let's get started. Okay, here we are in Adobe Illustrator. A little while back I had sketched out this little cartoon cruiser, grabbed some pencils and some markers and just drew this out. I thought it was fun, but it's been a few years now, so it's time to do a digital version of this. So I went ahead and scanned this in the computer, brought it into Illustrator. Now we're going to basically trace off all these lines with our pen tool here in Illustrator. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and do a little mask over this, a little tissue layer like I do on most of my projects, just so we can see our new lines a little bit easier. So we're going to go ahead and open up a layer and drop in that tissue layer. Okay, that's what that looks like. So we can still see through what we're trying to trace out, but we'll be able to see what our new lines are. So I opened up another layer, grabbed my pen tool on the left, and went ahead and basically traced off this car. Pretty much exactly the way it is from my sketch. Here's my lines I traced off. See, very little difference. Flames and everything, there's very little change. But you can see without that tissue layer, it's really hard to see anything up here. Trying to draw these new lines and be able to tell if they're straight or if they're on top or where they are, it's a mess. So that tissue layer helps a lot. But since we have our lines, we can go ahead and get rid of our sketch. There's all of our new lines. Now we can bring those into Photoshop and put some color on it. All right. Okay, we have our line work here in Photoshop. Let's go ahead and make 2 copies of this line work over on the right that we can do our shading on later. Okay, on that first layer, that bottom one, we're going to go ahead and drop in all of our base colors. So here's the base colors for our little cartoon cruiser. Basically white for most of the body, this kind of medium purple color for the flames and the wheels. And you see what I did for the chrome and the stainless. We just dropped in some light blue, and then we'll play with some shading and some reflection on that later. A little blue and tan. Pretty simple. Not sure what we were going to do with the glass, so I just put this gray in here. All right, let's start playing with it and render it out a little bit. The next line layer, open it up, and we'll start doing our shading. And you'll select with the magic wand tool, like for instance, this top of this front fender, this part of the door, and this rear right here. We'll just brush this in across here, but leaving some of this white so we get some highlight on it. Let me show you what that looks like. See what that does? We just focus our line down here, brushing on top of that, but being careful not to paint over all that white. We need that to help create our shape in our little rendering. Same thing down below, leaving some of that white. Same thing, then select the roof and just get in here a little tighter and just kind of play, leaving some highlight. It's amazing the dimensions that you can create just by playing with your shading here. See this down here? Same thing with this chrome. It's pretty harsh right now, but we'll knock it down a little bit. We just kind of created this little reflection mountain scene here, put some blue on top and some brown down below. See, it's pretty drastic and pretty dark, even on these leg pipes. But it's enough just to give it the idea that it is chrome. We got a little reflection, but we'll deal with it a little bit better here in this next layer. So let's open that up. And we'll knock some of this down and richen up some of our shading. Okay, see what we do with our chrome? Like, look at that front bumper. See how dark this is without that? We select this area with the magic wand tool, get in here with our white, and just kind of knock this down a little bit. Just lighten it up, and then around here, just do a little bit of reflection. Just brighten that up around there. We do the same with our hubcaps. Do the same with these leg pipes, and certainly this rear bumper. See what that does? And look at the shading. More shading on that little hubcap. Now it's a cartoon, so we're not worried about too much detail. But backing up, there's our base colors, pretty simple. Start doing our shading, darkening this up a little bit. Didn't worry about any highlights yet. Okay, and even with our white wall, we've darkened that up too. And the next layer, put some shadows up here and just lighten that up down below. Okay. All right, there's our basic shading on the car. The only other thing we're going to do is put a few top highlights on it just to make it pop just a little bit. So that's what that looks like. See what that does on our chrome and our hubcaps, and just a little bit of the detail even on our trim. A little bit of that goes a long way. It's easy to do too much, and which I do sometimes, but hey, it's all right. We can do what we want, right? Okay, well there's the basic car for our cartoon. Now for a background, I wanted to play with something that looked like it was zooming by, even though these guys are cruising, they're motoring. So I don't know what this is back here, but it's going by quick. And the only other thing I wanted to do was play with kind of a headlight beam. I saw this on here when I drug this in here with my paintbrush tool. I go, let's put in some headlight beam. So I did that and a little bit with the tail light. This is what that looked like. All right, just a little something going on just to create some interest. Okay, well there's a real quick look at how to render this little cartoon cruiser in Photoshop. Please check out our other videos available on rendering insights.